Good evening. We're back from a closed session. And Mr. City Attorney, any announcements out of closed session?
Thank you, Mayor. There are no actions to report out of closed session this evening.
Thank you. Our next item is item D. This is opening the ceremonial items. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please follow me with that Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
May the record show that Commissioner Jose Andrade has joined the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item we have, this is a ceremonial item. We have subject presentation, a proclamation designating the month of February 2024 as Black History Month. And we do have some individuals here today, and I'm going to name them come up, and I have a proclamation for each one, and I'll read the last one. MLK Committee of Ventura County, Dr. Vincent Stewart and committee members coming up. Mayor Pro Tem, we'll give them one of these. And then the next one is Kimberly Thomas Kelly, chapter president of Ventura County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma. I'm not going to mention the rest. Coming up, Kimberly. Okay. And then the next one is Angela Mitchell Landers, co-chair of the Juneteenth celebration of Ventura County, coming up. And again, we have Vincent Stewart, who's going to be accepting the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity of Ventura Alumni Chapter. And then we have the Community Advocacy Coalition Incorporated. They're here. And then we have Dr. Martha McQueen McClung, president of the Hi Kappa Omega Chapter of Ventura County. Who else am I missing? And everybody else who wants to come up with, that's okay. Okay. Let me give one proclamation. Let me see. This is for Juneteenth. Which is okay. And then we have the Community Coalition. Okay. And then we have Martha. Oh, here we go. Councilwoman Martha. And who else? Let me see. We need one more. Who else? Who's missing? Delta? Okay, here we go. And I'm going to read yours. Okay, this is a proclamation, Black History Month, February 2024. Whereas African Americans have a proud history and rich heritage, Black History Month gives Americans an opportunity to learn more about the contributions of African Americans to our community and our nation. Whereas we celebrate African Americans for their culture, political, economic, and historical contributions to our country. Where African Americans have persevered, despite facing daunting challenges of indignities and as a result of widespread racial prejudice and institutional discrimination. Whereas African Americans are recognized for their courage, tenacity, contribution to our country as skilled workers, esteemed professionals, lawyers, pilots, inventors, educators, public officials, orators, publishers, physicians, athletes, small business owners, bankers, librarians, and much more to help create the status and wealth of the United States. While remembering the special role of our nation, most celebrated African Americans also commend the everyday African American heroes who are dedicated to long cherished ideals of family, community, and nation. Whereas the citizens are so proud of their heritage and proud of the country and know the value of hard work, sacrifice, and establishing a good life, loving home, safe community, and deserve honor and recognition. Now therefore, I, John C. Zergos, the Mayor of the City of Oxnard, hereby proclaim the month of February 2024 as Black History Month. In the City of Oxnard, I encourage all residents to learn more about the contributions made to our community and our nation by the African American community that is signed by the Mayor on the 5th day of February. Young lady, who wants to speak first? You want to? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Zaragoza. Thank you very much. And to the council and to all those that are in the audience, on behalf of the Community Advocacy Coalition, we thank you so much for this proclamation. And yes, we have made contributions throughout the United States, throughout the world, certainly here in Ventura County. As a lifelong resident of Ventura County, I'm happy to say that we here in the 805, we've made many contributions, and we thank you so much for recognizing us. Thank you. And I would like to say that CAC, maybe you haven't heard of the organization, but it is a social justice organization. So if anyone is interested, please see me afterwards.
Thank you so much. Next young lady.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for recognizing our organizations and contributions for Black History Month. I am co-chair for Juneteenth, and we have been celebrating Juneteenth for going on 33 years. So please, do come out to our event in June 15th of this year out at Oxnard Plaza Park. And we'll have some symbols and presentations of Black history that should be well attended, and hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. And last year, we had several thousand people there at Plaza Park. Vince?
Good evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Zaragoza, and to the council and to all those watching. My name is Kimberly Thomas Kelly, and I'm the chapter president for the Ventura County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Our organization is 111 years old, and we've been in this community for 43 years. Our focus is on social justice, political action in our community. And although the African American community globally and nationally has made contributions, Black history is everyone's history. It's America's history. Once we can remove the novelty of it and incorporate Black people into our social lives, then we can become more equal globally, nationally, and in our own communities. We need that. Even as I glance at this council, at the board, what we don't see are African Americans who represent this community. So if there's anybody watching who might have an interest in political action, come serve. Come and serve the community and truly be representative. Thanks so much for the recognition.
And just to remember, we did have Councilman Pinkert here, also Irene Pinkert, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilwoman Martha?
Thank you. Dr. Martha McQueen Lejean. I am the president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, here serving Ventura County. We are in 12 countries, serving all over the world. We have 115,000 active members, about 350 members that have were initiated to our chapter, and our service is to all mankind. So anywhere we can find ourselves serving, we will do that. And I'm hoping that you're seeing us around Ventura County serving the community. One thing that I will add that I actually shared at our Port Hueneme Council meeting last night was there is a wonderful, wonderful 41-minute video that I think everyone should watch. It's a video regarding the price that our children, African-American children, played in the civil rights movement. It's called The Children's March. It can be found on YouTube. If you Google that, it's from 1963, Birmingham, Alabama, 41 minutes. You do not want to miss that piece of history for the United States. So like my sister said here, Black History is in February. I urge you to research Black history all throughout the year. There is so much to know about the benefits and the inventions and just everything that the African Americans have paid into this country. So please Google the video and please watch it.
Thank you, Councilmember. Doctor?
Well, I can't really say anything more. It's been well said by the members up here, but just on behalf of the MLK Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated and the Community Advocacy Coalition, just want to thank you for the honor.
Thank you so much. Put your hands together for Black America. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you. Thank you. Ah, okay. Ah, good. But let me see. You,
Okay, that's mine too.
oh, the parent too?
What's this?
No, this. Oh, you didn't get one. We're gonna have to get one. Okay. Doctor, wait a minute. Which one? This one here? Okay, I'll get you one. Thank you so much. Okay, put your hands together again for the, thank you so much for that. Okay, our next proclamation is Parents Leadership Month, and we need Kathleen Van. Is she here, Kathleen? And also we have Jackie Flores Ortega, Kathleen and Jackie coming up. I didn't want to mispronounce your last names. That's okay. Okay. Right here. Thank you. Hi, thank you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you. Stand right here. So Kathleen, you're going to accept this, okay? Thank you. Okay, this is a proclamation, Parent Leadership Month, February 2024, whereas parent leadership is an essential and effective means of strengthening families and preventing child abuse and neglect. Where parent leadership is successfully achieved, where parents receive support and training and share responsibility, expertise, leadership in planning, implementation, oversight, and evaluation of policies, practices, and programs that affect families in the community. Where Parents Anonymous Incorporated has created National Parent Leadership Month celebrated in February to recognize the extraordinary courage and tenacity of parents who have reached out to make improvements to their families and communities. Whereas the City of Oxnard recognizes the vital importance of partnering with parents and assist public systems, private organizations, policymakers, and other key stakeholders to implement parent leadership strategies effectively. And whereas Ventura County Parent Voices, which is really important, has provided invaluable work in the community with a partnership for safe families and communities. Whereas Ventura County Parent Voices partners with the coastal tri-counties and child abuse prevention councils to bring regional alignment, and has been recognized by United Parents, Interface, Human Service Agency, Kids and Families Together, First Five, and MyCobb. Now, therefore, I, John C. Zaragoza, Mayor, City of Oxnard, hereby proclaim the month of February 2024 as Parent Leadership Month in the City of Oxnard and recommend observance by all residents as signed by the Mayor today. Young lady.
May I ask you? Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. It is with gratitude and great respect that I accept this proclamation on behalf of the Partnership for Safe Families and Communities and the Parents' Voices. The Parents' Voices are individuals in our community with lived experience with the services provided to families. They use their voice and their experience to influence policies and procedures so that we can come from a strength-based and family-focused perspective. We do a number of things both on the state, regional, and local level. I'd just like to share a couple of examples this evening to honor this group of individuals and their families. On a state level, we work with our Child, Youth, and Family Wellness System to create wellness throughout the state of California, going to conferences and presentations to learn from other counties and to share our experience. On a regional level, we work with our coastal tri-counties team, that's Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, recognizing that all the way up and down the coast, families need to be together, to be strengthened, to be unified, and to be heard. And on a local level, we have a few different events that we host on a monthly basis. We have a Strengthening Families Collaborative where we pull together all the agencies throughout our county who provide direct services to families. We learn from one another, we share resources, but most importantly, we make sure that these services hear the voice of the families that are receiving the services. to understand how we can strengthen and how we can keep our families with the 5 protective factors strong. We also have our parent voice team here that does something on a monthly basis called Social Connections, where they connect parents. They talk to one another, they get together, they share resources, and they lift one another. And then coming up in the month of April, on Saturday, April 6th, we are having our annual 5K, and we want everyone in the city of Oxnard to come and stand strong, as well as throughout the county. It will be held at the Olakoi State Beach in Oxnard, and it is led by our families, our parents, and our youth. It's called Stronger Families, Safer Kids. So we will make sure that everyone is here and to stand represented and united. Thank you so much, and it is an honor on behalf of all of these parents who are so strong and so beautiful and so dedicated to our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Put your hands together for all this, folks. This is really taking care of our children is extremely important for all of us, and thank you again for the parents. Moms and dads are really, really important, especially moms. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming by. Thank you. Uh-huh. Thank you. Thank you, hon. Thank you. Okay, our next item is item F. This is public comments on items not in the agenda. And we do have some speakers, and I'm going to be calling out the speakers. And you got 3 minutes, to speak. And we're going to start off with William Rogers. Is William Rogers available?
Mayor Zaragoza, William is currently not available virtually or in person.
Okay, thank you. Then we have in person, I think we have Ronald Araujo, followed by Farrah Stack. Ronald, Commissioner.
I apologize for the wait. I have a presentation. Thank you.
Okay.
Or a PowerPoint slide.
Oh, you
to
have a
accompany
PowerPoint.
My public comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You've got 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Ronald Araujo, and I am speaking to you as a fellow registered Oxnard voter. As someone who feels strongly about voter participation, I wanted to inform you and the public what's at stake in these upcoming county supervisory elections. As a brief overview, our votes matter because we are making our choice on a nearly $3 billion county budget, 5 to 8 times of our city, depending on whether you include enterprise funds. I'll specifically point out the 2 slices of the environment and health and human services because these are arguably in the top 5 local issues that we debate on every day. The county owns the vast majority of the land in this county and is easily the sole public means for mental health. I hope Oxnard voters realize that while they should still hold you on City Council accountable, the county has the money to push forward the policies we want. You are all aware of the district lines, but as an intro for the public, the county supervisory district split Oxnard unevenly into 3 districts, with 4 of your districts split into 2 or even all 3 of the contested elections. Narrowing our focus to financial contributions, for example, individuals, committees, and PACs, you notice that individuals, people like you and me, only make up less than 3 out of every $5, and of that, Oxnard is only half of the overall. Of just those individual contributors, our sister cities of Ventura and Camarillo, making up half and 1/3 of Oxnard population, each have twice the financial power of Oxnard and combined have 4 times the power. I titled this presentation as Relative Influence because it's not a one-to-one relationship of money to votes and influence. I understand, trust me, I have a little of that experience. But if money wasn't so important, why did this body pass contribution limits along with every other city in this county? If it wasn't so important, why did at least one of your membership speak against the repeal of the county ordinance? And if it wasn't so important, why was it arguably one of the most contentious agenda items on the county board? Maybe there'll be an argument that the money doesn't really move the needle so much. Fine, let's accept that premise. What this pie chart shows is the proportion of registered voters for all the municipalities within districts 1, 3, and 5. It's obvious that Oxnard holds the clear plurality. However, Ventura and Camarillo are registered in much greater numbers than Oxnard relatively. And even more so, Oxnard is in the middle or bottom of voter turnout. Again, our sister cities of Ventura and Camarillo outpace us. I'm asking, I'm urging, I'm demanding that you use your influence in whatever way that you can. You clearly know how to use your influence because you all got your respective seats. Half of you have a very robust social media presence. Use it. All of you have extensive networks in the community, as you all proudly proclaim during your campaigns. Use it. I'm looking to all of you because, frankly, in my opinion, Oxnard is not using its influence on the county board to the best of its ability. My time is up. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Farah Stack.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Farah Stack, Policy Associate, speaking on behalf of the Community Environmental Council, an environmental nonprofit whose mission is to build on-the-ground momentum to reverse the threats of the climate crisis. We work throughout Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. I'm here today to ask the Council to arrange an informational presentation from our regional community choice energy provider, Clean Power Alliance, or CPA, to provide an opportunity for council staff and the public to learn more about CPA's REACH Code program. This program offers $12,500 in technical support to help cities adopt local building codes promoting electrification and electric vehicles. REACH codes are a tool for cities to meet their climate goals, improve energy efficiency in new construction, prepare for the future of electric vehicles, enhance affordable housing, and create healthier and more sustainable communities. The REACH Code program is an amazing opportunity for the city to accelerate its efforts in addressing the climate crisis and reducing pollution from gas appliances in homes and buildings. Once again, we are witnessing the cost of climate inaction with California's deadly storms. The climate crisis is here, and we must take bold action to eliminate our dependence on fossil fuels. As you may know, buildings are a major source of fossil fuels, accounting for roughly 25% of the state's carbon emissions. In Oxnard, about 22% of the city's greenhouse gas emissions come from energy usage attributed to natural gas, a potent fossil fuel, primarily used for space and water heating in residential buildings, according to the City of Oxnard's Climate Action Plan. Eliminating climate pollution out of our buildings is essential to meet both the state of California and the City of Oxnard's goals of carbon neutrality by 2045. Fossil fuel appliances not only pose risks for the climate, but also for human health. Research shows that gas cooking produces over 25 million tons of carbon pollution each year in the US, and recent research from Stanford University found that gas stoves leak methane and other pollutants even when the stoves are off. Gas stoves also emit pollutants like nitrogen dioxide and carbon monoxide, which are known to damage our lungs and exacerbate respiratory issues. Luckily, jurisdictions can amend their building codes to restrict the installation of natural gas in new construction to reduce pollution and improve public health. Building electrification is the most cost-effective and least risky pathway to decarbonize buildings. Failure to take this action early would result in a continuation of the installation of equipment and infrastructure that will quickly become obsolete and thus have to be replaced before its end of life, which would waste taxpayer money. As a city located in the fastest warming county in the contiguous United States, it's essential that Oxnard takes bold action to decarbonize its buildings and leverage CPA's REACH Code program. REACH codes have been adopted by over 76 jurisdictions across California, including the County of Ventura, the City of Ojai, and the City of Santa Barbara. Please consider agendizing this informational presentation. I'm happy to email you the CPA contact. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Abra Stewart. Is he available?
Mayor Zaragoza, Abra is available virtually.
Okay.
Abra, please press *6 to unmute, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi. Good evening, honorable council members. My name is Abra Stewart, and I'm the program manager at Climate First, replacing oil and gas, and I'm a longtime resident of Ventura County. I'm speaking tonight to urge the council to file and receive an informational presentation from the Clean Power Alliance about the CPA Reach Code program. I personally live in a house full of natural gas. From my heating to my stove, I am constantly inhaling pollution from these appliances. I've even had my carbon monoxide alarm go off in the middle of the night. And as a renter, I don't have the ability to change out these appliances to electric alternatives, but I do have the ability to advocate for my elected officials to get educated about reach codes and consider the positive benefits they can have on your constituents, and that is why I'm speaking tonight. I'm asking the City Council to agendize an informational presentation from our community choice energy provider, the CPA, to provide an opportunity for yourselves and residents to learn more about electrification and how reach codes can be used as a tool to ensure healthier and more sustainable buildings and communities. Receiving this presentation is extremely important because it's the first step for Oxnard to set an example for the rest of Ventura County. As the largest city in the fastest growing county in the United States, the city of Oxnard is well positioned to set a standard that cuts natural gas infrastructure out of our homes, out of our frontline communities, and out of our bodies for improved public and planetary health. I ask you to take that first step towards a clean and just future by agendizing this presentation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Ashley, let me see, Ashley Gongora? Ashley?
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Mrs. Gongora. I am one of the many that were affected by the storm on December 21st, 2023. My husband, myself, and my 2 kids were awakened to a total nightmare that night when we woke up and we realized we were floating in well over 1.5 feet of water. We lost everything from furniture, clothes, both of our cars, and many valuable items, not to mention all of the Christmas presents that we worked really hard to be able to get for our kids. All the trauma that was caused from jumping out of our kitchen window due to the water rising and getting no help from 911, sleepless nights for our little ones to this day are traumatized from the flooding. Rainy days are no longer the same for us. Due to this, we have carried a tremendous amount of stress since we basically have to start all over again from the ground up. It took the city of Oxnard 2 long weeks until we got any type of acknowledgement. All we have received was a couple nights in the hotel and another few nights from a sponsorship which was with United Way. The lack of help from the city has left our family living out of boxes in my mother-in-law's small living room to this day. We have been told via email that there is no funds to help, which we find that's very hard to believe. It was publicly announced that the city has been approved for help for those affected, but has failed to give it. There are many hardworking taxpayers in the city, like myself, and yet there is no funds when we need the help. There has been an SBA loan offered, but a lot of people like myself are getting declined emails and still no response. Besides a response we received by Mr. McDonald, which he stated that there is no help available for us due to no money. Ignoring us is not the answer. Answers are what we need. Help is what your citizens need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, Liz Lamar,
Mayor Zaragoza, Liz is not available virtually or in person.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Ray Platel. Ray?
Thank you. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff. Years ago, when employed by the Navy, I answered to my branch head, division head, or even the department head. All in all, I worked for the federal government. But above all, I worked for every taxpayer in this room. I owed every taxpayer my best work to the best of my ability. Likewise, the city employees in this room tonight and those not present answer to the leads and department heads and in essence, the city manager. But in reality, who do you really work for? The taxpayers of the city of Oxnard. That's who, regardless of your job title. The taxpayers of Oxnard pay your salaries, put food on your table, and a roof over your heads. You actually work for Oxnard taxpayers. Learn to accept that. Therefore, when I, as a taxpayer, make a simple request to the CFO and Assistant Treasurer to meet with me to describe how investment interest is earned and what basis it is earned, I think that I deserve, as a taxpayer, an audience for my questions. All I'm asking for is some clarification relative to how these things are done. But city staff, including the CFO and assistant treasurer, have not responded to my request for a meeting. I even asked the city manager, but also received no response. This is so rude not to respond at all. Not only is it rude, it is ultimately unprofessional. Remember who you work for. Are you hiding behind an email where I urge the city to do something about slick and dangerous conditions on our city sidewalks? If so, this is a very shallow excuse. I was trying to help the city reduce exposure to potential litigation. Or does the city have something to hide? Are you afraid that I may again uncover something, let's call them miscalculations by city staff? If not, why don't you meet with me? Let's always talk about transparency when you hide. Transparency means nothing if the local government doesn't share with the taxpayer how things are done. We, the taxpayers, deserve to know how and why the city does what it does. Therefore, schedule a meeting, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Connett. Joe.
Good evening. I'm Joe Connett. I'm a registered civil engineer and a retired deputy public works officer for the Navy. I lived in Oxnard for 12 years, volunteer each week doing food distribution to Oxnard residents at the All Saints Episcopal Church just a couple blocks away. And my sister and brother-in-law live in Oxnard. I'm here speaking for the Sierra Club. I'm here to ask the council to reach out to the Clean Power Alliance and request that they provide an informational presentation about the REACH Code program at an upcoming city council meeting. The Clean Power Alliance, CPA, is our regional community choice energy provider. Since 2019, CPA has provided 100% clean energy to the city of Oxnard. The presentation will provide an educational opportunity for council, staff, and members of the community to learn more about building electrification and how REACH codes are a tool for creating healthier, greener, and more sustainable communities. I've seen the benefits personally from switching from gas cooking and heating to electricity in my own home. As an engineer, I know how valuable well-written building codes are for the design and construction of safe and affordable homes and buildings. Excuse me. If the presentation results in Oxnard adopting REACH codes, as outlined in the City of Oxnard's Climate Action and Adoption Plan, there is an opportunity for the city to collaborate with CPA and benefit from the REACH Code program. The REACH Code program provides for electrification of buildings. This program presents a great opportunity for the city to receive $12,500 in technical assistance for the development of a building electrification and/or EV charging REACH code. By implementing electrification REACH codes, Oxnard can reduce the cost of new construction, save energy, eliminate future retrofit costs, and make progress toward mitigating climate change. With improved indoor air quality and by eliminating natural gas combustion fire risk, all electric buildings are safer and healthier to live in, along with being cost-effective, especially when adopted at the new construction stage. Electrifying our homes has major health benefits. Burning gas in stoves and furnaces releases nitrogen oxides and particulates, which can have serious health consequences. I encourage you to request a REACH code presentation to start the process of looking into building electrification and/or EV charging REACH codes for Oxnard. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Martha Polanco.
Buenas tardes. Good evening. Mi nombre es Marta Polanco. My name is Marta Polanco. Yo vivo en el 1931 de la Brookside. I live on 1931 Brookside. En la Marina Vista Complex. At the Marina Vista Complex. Nosotros el día 21 de diciembre. On the December 21st of 2023. Sufrimos la inundación. We suffered a flooding. We woke up at 2 a.m. With water. And since that day, we've suffered from stress. We lost furniture everything in our home. Nobody showed up to provide us with any help, with except the Red Cross to take down our information, but that's it. So 12 days later, the city showed up to put a yellow tag so that we couldn't be there any longer. So since that day, we've been homeless. So they helped us, providing us with 10 days at a hotel, but we haven't received anything after that. We've talked to all the departments requesting help for us and our families, but they keep telling us that there are no resources, that there's nothing there. That's why I'm here, asking you to please not forget about us. Thank you.
Yeah, and also, by the way, just for information, that our city manager is going to give us a severe storm update in a while too, just for information. Our next speaker is Reyes, Mrs. Reyes, Reyes.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Emilia Reyes. I come here representing my family, my husband and my 2 children. Thursday, December 21st, because of the rains, our apartment flooded. I'm sorry. We lost our home, our vehicles. I'm sorry for my tears.
Agarre su tiempo, muchacho.
It's really hard for me to remember. Causes me pain. Seeing my children losing their home. I'm here to see if there's any way you can help us. Because it's not just my family, but also my neighbor's family. We're all in the same situation. The city closed our homes at night. We cannot sleep there anymore. We can only be at our apartment during the day with just the very basic necessities. My children ask me every day, when are we going to go back to normal? That is why. I know humans are not responsible for this. It was the rain, a storm. But I believe that it's in hands of other human people for you to be able to help us, not only my family, but also to all those other impacted by this. I'm really sorry that I was overtaken by emotions here this evening. Thank you very much.
No se apure, Sonia. Muchas gracias. Thank you for your testimonies, what I mentioned. Vanessa Terán. Vanessa.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. I'm Vanessa Teran, Policy Director with the Mixteco Indigena Community Organizing Project. I've spoken here before. Today, I'm here to urge the council to agendize an informational presentation from Clean Power Alliance about the CPA REACH code. As you know, MyCOP is the only organization dedicated entirely to addressing the needs of the indigenous community in the California Central Coast. And as you've seen in the last 3 days, and at the end of December during the thunderstorm, where 2 inches of rain fell in Oxnard, in the city of Oxnard and Port Hueneme, that is known as a once-in-a-millennium circumstance or phenomenon by meteorologists, it's indicating to us that clearly these circumstances are continually bound to happen. And our indigenous communities and our low-income communities, clearly, as you're hearing from some community members today, will be most affected by severe impacts of climate change. So now is the time that we plan and respond to ensure that our homes, the future of our homes, are protected with adapted infrastructure, resilient infrastructure. For this reason, and more importantly, for the general health and well-being of our communities, I want to make sure that it's available, that our communities understand that there's a future, a better future for our buildings and our homes. And that's through the electrification due to our REACH codes. So as a city that is near the coastline and one of the most vulnerable coastlines, I will ask you to actively work to adopt an all-electric REACH code for new construction that includes commercial development, not just residential. As you know, and as you heard today, we're the fastest warming county in the nation. And we will continue to be that if we don't start to create steps that advance a just transition. So I ask you to take any incentive and any opportunity to make the right choice to continue to build a better, brighter future Oxnard. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Maria Navarro.
Hello, good evening, council members, staff. My name is Maria Navarro, and I am here as the Senior Policy Advocate at CAUSE. Today, I stand before you to urge the City Council to take action in fostering a sustainable and resilient future for our community. And to do so, I'm here to request that the City Council invite a presentation from the Clean Power Alliance regarding the CPA REACH Code program. A little bit of info on this. The CPA REACH Code program represents the critical steps towards achieving our climate goals and ensuring the resilience of our city. By implementing more stringent building energy codes, we have the opportunity to significantly reduce our carbon footprint and mitigate the impacts of climate change. The CPA REACH Code program provides valuable resources and guidance for local governments like ours to adopt forward-thinking policies that promote energy efficiency and sustainability in building construction. Moreover, as we continue to witness the escalating effects of climate change, it is imperative that we prioritize resilience in all aspects of city planning and development. This includes not only bolstering our infrastructure against extreme weather events, but also constructing new housing with materials that are climate resilient and resistant. By incorporating climate resilient design principles into our building standards, we can better protect our residents and mitigate the risks associated with climate-related hazards. I urge the City Council to recognize the urgency of this matter and take proactive steps to address it. By requesting a presentation from the CPA, we can gain valuable insights and guidance on how to effectively integrate the CPA REACH Code program into our local policies and regulation. I also want to just highlight the comments also that were made before from the tenants who are here, from the people who are being displaced as well. I know it's hard, maybe in your position, to sometimes find how to help, but I really would urge you to also look out for these people who are here, and if there's anything our organization has caused we could do, please connect with us as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, any other speakers on this item, virtually or in person?
Mayor Zaragoza, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person.
Thank you. Our next item then is item G. This is a report of the city manager. It's going to G1, city managers, subject to severe storm emergency action. Recommendation that city council ratify the director orders regarding the severe storms local emergency proclaimed by Directive of Emergency Service on December 27, 2023, and related action taken pursuant to the severe storm local emergency. And Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm going to start by inviting Mr. George Kostirko from the Small Business Administration Office. I believe he's online. Madam Clerk, if we could have him come, he's going to give an update, the work that they've done here in our community. George?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, do they need to translate? 2 seconds. Do we need the translators, señoras, next to them or what? Because they're the translators, right? He can probably sit next to you folks. They sit over here, and that way you can. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Cedric. Thank you. He can translate right next to him. Thank you. Go ahead. Okay, Alex.
George, there you are. Can you go ahead, George?
Sure. I can speak slowly if there's going to be translations. And before I start, I did hear some very compelling testimony by folks that suffered greatly during this event. And if anybody has been got a denial letter, I encourage you to go into Disaster Loan Center over there at the library and bring your letter and talk with our customer service staff. We are here to help. If there's any issues or barriers, we certainly want to help with those. So let me kind of give you guys an overview here. I do have a slide presentation. If you'd like to run it, you don't have to. I can just speak. But so good evening, Honorable City of Oxnard Mayor and City Council members and public. My name is George Kostirko. I am with the U.S. Small Business Administration, Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. I'm here to provide an overview of the loan resources that are available to assist the residents of Ventura County impacted by the December 2023 stormy flood and disaster. You can switch the slide to the next one. So SBA did receive an administrative disaster declaration request on January 8th from the California Office of Emergency Services for damages to businesses and homes that resulted from flooding that occurred December 21 to 23 of last year. Ventura County did meet the damage criteria for an SBA administrative declaration following a survey. Our administrator issued that declaration on January 10th. So unlike what the name indicates, SBA offers low-interest loans to businesses of all sizes, nonprofits, homeowners, and renters not covered by insurance or other recovery funds. At this point, I do want to acknowledge the efforts of the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, Office of Emergency Services, and the communities of Port Hueneme and the City of Oxnard. You guys really, I know there was a lot of frustration by residents, but the coordination of the county and the cities during this first response period was really actually considerable. And it was very overwhelming, as your emergency services individual had mentioned in earlier testimony. Over 640 vehicles suffered considerable damage and likely will all need replacement. So this has impacted this community greatly. So I'd like to just share a little information on what SBA has to offer. We can go to the next slide. So SBA disaster loans are available for homeowners for up to $500,000 to replace or repair their primary residence. Renters and homeowners can apply for up to $100,000 in coverage to replace or repair personal property. And business and nonprofit organizations can apply for up to $2 million in loans to cover disaster losses not fully covered by insurance. The businesses also could apply for up to $2 million to help meet financial obligations and operating expenses that could have been met had the disaster not occurred. We can move to the next slide. Thank you. Ventura is one of 4 eligible California counties that can apply for funding here. Those counties include Ventura, Kern, Los Angeles, and Santa Barbara. Next slide, please. SBA offers low fixed interest rates with terms of up to 30 years to help in recovery. There's no cost to apply and no obligation to accept the loan if approved. The December 2023 storm and flooding disaster loan rates are as low as 2.688% for the homeowner loans, 4%, and then this includes renters, low as 4% for businesses, and as low as 3.25% for nonprofit organizations. Eligibility is based on a case-by-case review for each applicant. There is no interest for the first year and no repayment requirement for the first 12 months. SBA disaster loans have no closing costs and no prepayment penalties. I do want to encourage folks that have suffered a loss to definitely come and visit the center. The deadline to apply for physical damage is March 11th, 2024. I did mention for businesses, this is something called an economic injury disaster loan. That's basically for working capital loans to help businesses meet their ordinary and necessary financial obligations that cannot be met as a direct result of the disaster. Loan rates for that are as low as 4% for businesses and 3.25% for nonprofit organizations, and also typically are 30-year loans. Shorter terms are available. This one has a later deadline, and that one is it's important that that folks apply for that one by October 10th. If we could go to the next slide. Since January 13th, we have had a disaster loan outreach center at the South Oxnard Branch Library at 4300 Saviors Road. After our first weekend, the hours of operation were expanded to 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday. We are closed on Fridays. Typically, our customer service staff will call out to folks that we've been notified by the cities and the emergency services that there is a need, but we have not met with them yet. They have not come in. Or we may have folks that have started a loan and maybe they're at a point where there's a request for documents or other items and we haven't heard from them. We'd like to move the loans along. For the next slide. I mentioned earlier the efforts by the cities and the county to get the word out. As I said, on Saturday, the opening day of our Disaster Loan Outreach Center, this is Saturday, January 13th, we had more than 100 people arrive for assistance. And in fact, that was fairly overwhelming. We did not expect that. I don't think anybody did, but clearly there was community need. So as a result of that, some people just had to leave for work because they couldn't wait. However, they did learn that they could register and enroll online. So our field operations staff did help 71 people that day. That's probably the largest group in recent memory. Getting people enrolled, the process started. I wanted to share the latest information with you folks here. As of this morning, I want to let you know that we have received a total of 568 applications. Of that number, 228 are in progress. Now I'm combining home, business, and economic injury numbers, but I'm just letting you know that's where we're at. And so out of that, we have had 14 loans have been approved to be funded, and that's close to $300,000. That's good. So far. And like I said, we've got applications that are in progress. So we really ask that if there are those in the community with needs and they haven't been able to come in yet, please come into the Oxnard Library. We also, of course, have the portal there. People can actually, on that address there, they can actually apply online to make an appointment and get the process started. And that can speed things. Lastly, let's change the slide, one more slide. We can be a primary source of federal assistance to help private property owners, whether it's personal property or real estate, pay for disaster losses that were not covered by any kind of insurance. And then let's go to the next slide. We have more information. Where additional places, if you choose not to come into the Disaster Loan Outreach Center at the library, you can apply online, and there's a number. And then finally, just in close with the last slide, disasters such as the storm and flooding in December 21 through 23 can severely impact businesses, homeowners, and renters. And as we've seen in the community with the need, people coming in, and the testimony today, that can really have devastating consequences on the community. I would be glad to answer any questions folks might have. I suspect there is some, and I'd be glad to answer them.
George, Mayor Zaragoza, thank you so much for coming to Oxnard the other day over to the South Oxnard Center. The question I have is, I know we had a lot of people today that were renters, so they have the opportunity to apply for the $100,000 disaster SBA loan. The other question I have is this all information in Spanish?
Yes, absolutely. We have people there who can speak Spanish. We can also, I want to assure folks that we have an ability to get a third party on a phone line to help with any other dialects or languages that we may not have at the center.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Any additional council members, any questions of George?
Excuse me, Mayor Zaragoza?
Do we have any speakers on this item?
No, we do not have any speakers on this item, but just for the record, Councilwoman Basua joined the meeting at 7:10 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Turan.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you very much, George, for the information this evening. And you may be able to speak to this, or perhaps our city manager can as well. But as was mentioned in this presentation, this isn't just a small business loan. This is something that homeowners and renters and property managers, I'd imagine, could all apply for. And I would imagine the initial response would be, I need help. I can't take out a loan. Why would I take out a loan to do this? With the terms being 15 to 30-year loans, but also there being no interest and no payments required for the first 12 months, as well as no penalty for prepaying it. I just had this conversation with my grandfather, whose house was also flooded. He was telling me that he was planning to put a driveway in for accessibility for he and my grandmother, so they didn't have to jockey for parking and didn't have to worry about getting out of the car at the curb. And he said, if I have to choose to fix my walls and my drywall or mold and put the driveway in, I can't do both. And I mentioned this, as was highly recommended by our neighbors who've already applied, saying, you can at least get on the list to just apply for it, because if it's approved, you don't have to spend your money right now to get those repairs made, especially if we're going to mitigate mold or do repairs that are necessary because of the flooding. And I hope folks look at it from that frame, that why dip into savings if you even have those to get these repairs? If you qualify for these loans, get the loans, get the repairs done, and in the interim 12 months, we don't know what can happen. Perhaps the state or the federal government will come through, and that can be used to pay off the loan with no prepayment penalty. Or perhaps it's something that we work out in our own budgets. Or if you're a renter, your landlord applies to make these repairs to your home or your apartment or an entire apartment complex. And so I just hope everybody understands, if you were affected by this directly, that at least look into this as the first option that's here available to get work going and get things moving for folks. And if you're a renter and your landlord is trying to figure out what they're going to do, handhold them over to the South Oxnard Center to go apply for this, because there's absolutely funding for them to apply for, to get this done, to get folks back to normal and back into their homes. So that's my comments there, Mayor. Thank you. And thank you again, George.
Any additional comments?
No, I just want to see if George has anything.
George, anything else that you might want to share with us?
Yeah, I want to just thank the council member for his really great analysis of what these loans can offer folks. The interest rates are extremely low. The fact that there's no prepayment penalty, and the fact that there's no interest or payment due in the first year is considerable. This administration has made some pretty dramatic changes to the loan program in the last year or so. The limits have gone up dramatically. They were at $200,000 for home loans and $40,000 for renters for decades, and they've recently been increased. Every effort is really made to keep the rates as low as possible. They are reviewed and changed on a quarterly basis, but when a declaration like this is declared, these do not change during the time. And also want to let folks know that if they have been denied for whatever reason, you have 6 months for a reconsideration.
It's good.
And that is why we encourage people, please, if you feel like you got to know, that may not be the final answer. And that's why we have the staff in your community.
And George,
Sorry.
George, that's a good question because I've had, a good answer or information because I've had people that apply that didn't qualify that potentially could go back within 6 months and try again.
Absolutely. So, you've seen some numbers here. We said we've had 568, that have started the process, and then we have another number, which are the ones in process. Let me look at my notes really quick. If you'll just hold for just a second.
Go ahead.
So we of that 568, 228 are in progress, and I had a conversation with your city manager a couple of weeks ago about this. So there's, you look at the number, the gap between that number, and in some cases that might be some people that have been denied, but also it can also be voluntary application withdrawals as well as suspended loans. And when we say suspended loans, we don't mean that we're suspending your loan. There is a process where we document everything. It's very transparent. And if there's been a request for something and we don't hear from the individual, let's say we're asking for a bank record or asking him to sign the tax form, those kinds of things that are just normally the part of the loan process, it automatically goes into suspense. It doesn't go away. It's not withdrawn. But those are also eligible for the 6 month, not recovery, but review or reconsideration. They don't go away. They stay in the system. So that's why while we have these folks here at the library, they can either, people that have a letter in hand use as to what the next steps, because they feel like they haven't heard anything, please come in. Great. It's really, really great that we've got the folks here. We want to help. Basically, we have a dual responsibility to not only offer the disaster loans, but as a cash flow lender, we have to establish the willingness and ability to repay a loan. So all those requested documents are very critical that people I'm not suggesting that people aren't following through on purpose. They may be not clear that they do need to keep giving us information if we're requesting it so we can continue the process. So I just wanted to just clarify for that, folks. Yes. So basically, in the transparency, really, because we do have oversight bodies that review our loan program. We not only have to document why we're making a loan, but we also must document why we haven't moved forward with the loan request. And that is, obviously confidential between the applicant and our loan officers, but at the same time, it is there, if there was ever an audit. So we definitely, really want to make sure that we give everybody the best chance possible if they need that loan to be eligible for it, if everything's in order.
Thank you, George. We have a Councilman Bert Perrella, but I want to share something that you said that I've had calls and I've had emails where individuals have accused the city and the city council and not doing anything to help them out. But with the information you gave tonight, there's a lot of opportunity for renters, for landlords, for businesses to apply for the disaster program from the SBA program. We do have a Councilmember Perrella.
Sir, thank you very much for coming and making the presentation. Very informative, not just for this councilman, but I'm sure for the members of the public. I also want to thank you for making the statement, willingness to repay the loan. These are not forgivable loans, am I correct?
That is correct.
And you had mentioned that there have been loans approved. I think it was the number of loans and the amount. Was it the amount total or the amount per loan?
No, it's the amount total. So, based on whatever the need was, whatever this is just a cumulative number here. And I'm trying to, like I said, be as transparent with you, with your community as possible. So we've had 14 loans have been approved in, what has it been, about 3 weeks since we've been here. And of that number, it's almost 300,000 total, not 300,000 each. So yeah, it's a total of $300,000.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you very much for coming and making the presentation.
Thank you, George. Council members, thank you so much. And George, thank you
Excuse me,
again.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Any additional speakers?
There's one virtual speaker.
Okay, let's go ahead with the virtual speaker.
Speaker with phone number ending in 6377, please press *6 to unmute and introduce yourself if you like, and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, this is Manuel Herrera, Manuel Herrera with Citizens for Better Oxnard. I'm here at home watching the meeting, and one thing that no one is mentioning, and I think that's what's causing a lot of the problems here, is that a lot of people don't know how this all works. In other words, people think that, this happened to them, there was flooding, and hey, I live in the city of Oxnard, the city of Oxnard needs to help me. Why do I need to get a loan? Why can't you just help me? And I think a lot of it is because no one has explained it to them, or at least publicly, how this works, that when it's a natural disaster, there's different steps that are required, that, it's got to be labeled as a natural disaster. It's got to go through the Red Cross. The governor has to get involved. That's where these loans come in and everything. So in other words, it's like it's not the responsibility of the city to pay for the damages and so forth, So a lot of people don't know that. So they're wondering, why do I have to get a loan? Why isn't the city helping me? Well, can someone explain to them in simple terms why you can't? It's not that you don't want to, it's that you can't, and there's different steps and so forth. So if either the mayor, the city manager, or George, or someone can explain to them in simple terms how this works and why you can't just give them money and fix it for them. So that's just my 2 cents worth. So thank you.
Yeah, and Manuel, that's why we've been holding those meetings, different meetings with the individuals in Spanish and in English. But I'm sure that if you call the city manager's office or my office, we give those people the information. And in fact, Mr. City Manager, we could probably put that information on our city website, which I think would be important, and also for the people to understand in Spanish and English. It's a good point, Manny.
Okay. Before I continue, I want to see if George has any closing comments. And George, thank you for taking the time to be here.
I'm grateful that you guys have allowed me to be here, and I'm sorry I can't be there in person. As you can imagine, there's been a lot going on in the last couple of weeks, not just in your beautiful community, but in other communities. And so I was moved to another area to start things, and then so that's why I'm not available to be there in person, or I would have been. But the bottom line really is this, is that while a loan is not a first choice, it is an option, and the interest rates are very, very low. And I can understand, this goes to what Manny, I think, hinted to, and I had this conversation with Patrick Maynard, your emergency services individual for Ventura County. So last year, remember, we had some pretty bad storms. And, I don't want to get into the weeds with people, but that was a presidential declaration, and FEMA was involved. FEMA does offer forgivable loans and grants. And so some folks out there may have received some funding to replace a car, those kinds of things. This was what's called an administrative declaration. And so based on the damage, the threshold was easily met for SBA to help. But unlike FEMA, we are offering, we're offering, loans that have to be paid back to the U.S. Treasury. So yeah, and it's a little different. And I know it's a little uncomfortable for people because they may not see a difference between what happened, a year ago, January, right? And this time, but